why we're here?
John Wayne and Dean Martin star in the box office hit The Sons of Katie Elder, Saturday night at 11:30 on the Movie on 4.
The incidence of violence in relationships is alarmingly high, and it is not exclusive to marriage. In fact, statistics indicate that there is physical abuse between young men and women at the high school and college level. And on our next show, we'll talk about why this is happening when we meet couples with violent histories in their own relationships who step forward to explain the complex reasons for such behavior and how they dealt with the problem. Courtship violence on the next Donahue.
This is CBS.
Good evening, everyone. In tonight's headlines, the big freeze is on in Minnesota because of the bone-chilling temperatures. They're expected to drop with the wind chill to 85 below zero at the lowest tonight. A legislative conference committee spending its weekend trying to iron out the state's money problems. We'll update that. Government authorities have relaxed some of the tough restrictions under martial law in Poland. And the Gopher basketball team won its game tonight, defeating Michigan State at East Lansing, Michigan, 64-58, the final there. We'll have these stories and more coming up next on the 10 p.m. report.
It's January Jamboree time at Venus Waterbids. Right now at Venus, you'll find some terrific values on quality merchandise. Values like this platform-style waterbed, complete for only $139. How about this contemporary bookcase bed for only $229? Or this modern four-poster at $299 complete? Here's the San Carlos, a deluxe bookcase bed with etched mirror for only $349. And this has got to be the nation's best-selling soft-sided waterbed, the System 4, on sale for only $349 in queen size. It's January Jamboree time at all 5 Venus showrooms. Don't miss it.
WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
From WCCO Television, the Northwest's leading news station, this is the 10 p.m. report.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Leading the news at this hour, Twin Cities residents try to stay warm. We're all bracing for the coldest temperatures, the coldest night yet of this winter season.
As the winds continue to whip up in the Twin Cities, those temperatures could reach as low as 85 degrees below zero tonight. The entire state has been put under a traveler's advisory because of near blizzard conditions. All roads in the Marshall and Windham, Minnesota areas have been closed due to blowing snow and poor visibility. And even earlier today, the picture wasn't a whole lot better. People fought the bitter weather as best they could today with thermal underwear, down jackets, and layers upon layers of warm clothing. So far, the effort seems to have paid off because local hospitals report they have seen no cases of frostbite in the Twin Cities area. But when it comes to cars, the prognosis isn't nearly as good. Car maintenance businesses were flooded with calls again today from people who couldn't get their cars started. And Minigasco also had its share of heavy business from people with no heat and others who just wanted their furnaces serviced to prevent any kind of trouble. We've asked Dr. Walt to join us at the top for a moment to fill us in on just how bad things are.
Coldest this winter, coldest probably in 5 years, and 5 years ago was one of the coldest winters on record. We've been scanning some of the wind chill reports tonight, and these are about the coldest in memory. 72 below about 2 hours ago at the Twin Cities Airport. Both the state climatologists and the folks out of the National Weather Service can't remember one colder. 87 below at Fargo, 82 below at International Falls, 85 below at Sioux Falls, etc., and so forth. That is bone chilling. There's no snow around, but as you indicated, the blowing and drifting from 30 to 40 mile an hour winds has caused travel advisories over just about everywhere. Roads have been closed in several portions of the state, particularly the southwest. But as you reported, if you just use common sense, dress very warmly, and don't go outside unless you have to, July will get here sooner or later.
Well, just about everywhere you look this evening, bad weather has gripped the nation. In Sierra Nevada, south of Lake Tahoe, rescuers are trying to reach people still trapped by a week-long snowfall there. In some spots, the snow is 10 feet deep. And in Northern California, the cleanup effort continues following huge mudslides which devastated that area last Monday. Damage to private property alone is estimated at $125 million. Federal disaster relief could be in motion, though, there as early as Monday. Local police say they may ask for help from the National Guard in warding off looters who could strike damaged and abandoned homes. Mike?
And an earthquake shattered the early morning hours in eastern Canada and parts of New England this morning. It measured 5.9 on the Richter scale. It was centered in New Brunswick. That quake was followed about 3 hours later by an aftershock that registered 4.9. Fortunately, nobody was injured, but some buildings did sustain minor damage. At the state capitol this evening, lawmakers say they are close to an agreement on how to solve the state's money problems. Karen Boris was at the state capitol today, and she is here now with details.
Mike, the day started with a bit of a surprise. House IRs said they agreed with House DFLers on a plan that cut spending by $350 million, raised taxes by $300 million, and balanced the budget by shifting a payment from one fiscal year to another. The Senate side balked at those payment shifts and wanted the House to give it a larger tax break to businesses.
Within this proposal that are not to eat any individual's liking. There are points in here that I wished were different, but in the spirit of compromise, they have been willing to put together this package and one that they can support, and I am very, very hopeful, and I feel in my heart that it's going to be supported by a good number of their fellow colleagues in the House Independent Republican Caucus.
Without House IR votes, there is almost no chance the governor will sign the bill. And it was concern from the House side about keeping those IR votes that slowed progress toward agreement.
You know, as you go down this entire package, you're going to find that there was more concessions on the part of the House than there has been on the part of the Senate. Now, I'm not one of those legislators who say that if you give me this, I have to have that. I would rather deal with the question in its truest form as to what is best for the state and what is best for its people. But on the other hand, you have to recognize that the House finds itself in a very difficult position. And unless the Senate is more willing to compromise with us, we just aren't going to reach a conclusion.
We have supported and adopted a number of the provisions that the House had in their proposal. Plus, we have added things into our proposal to help your House Republicans along the way.
Negotiations continued this evening with the two sides all but in agreement on tax increases and spending cuts. The hang-up being unwillingness on the Senate side to accept $190 million worth of payment shifts proposed by the House side unwilling to accept all of the Senate's business recovery proposals.
I think we're down to, as I said, a very, very close ability to reach a accord. There's some concerns we have about the school payment rescheduling, and we support Senator Seeloff and the Senate Conferee's position on the business recovery program. And
the Senate wants $42 million in business tax relief. The House side wants $30 million. The business tax relief and those payment shifts are the major obstacles to agreement. They meet again tomorrow afternoon.
All right, thank you, Karen. And nationally, an increase in excise taxes is going to mean sharp price increases for consumers and very soon. President Reagan has tentatively decided to almost double those taxes. They would work in this manner. The price for a six-pack of beer will be going up at least 15 cents under this proposal. A gallon of wine would cost 17 cents more. A fifth of liquor, meantime, would be going up an additional $1.60. The price of a pack of cigarettes would increase by 8 cents. A gallon of gasoline would cost 4 cents more under this plan. And the total package translates into a gain of $10 billion for the United States Treasury. In Poland today, some of the martial law restrictions were eased just a bit.
For one thing, censorship of news was lifted so that foreign correspondents don't have to clear their reports through a government censor anymore. Polish officials held a news conference today to talk about the easing of censorship. Also today, some cultural centers reopened in Warsaw, and telephone service was restored in parts of the country. The Polish national airline also began operating some flights, although Poles must receive permission before they can move about their country. The Soviet Union today warned Western Europe not to join economic sanctions against Russia. Italian police may have found their biggest lead yet in the search for kidnapped American General James Dozier. Today, they arrested a Red Brigade terrorist, Giovanni Cinzani. He was arrested along with several other members of the group. Police are almost certain the suspects know about Dozier's whereabouts. The arrests were made at 3 Red Brigade hideouts. The raid also netted a stash of weapons and documents. Until now, police had found no significant leads in that case. High interest rates have thrown many farmers into a battle to save their businesses. We'll have that story when the 10 p.m. report continues.
Hey, every card's got a winning combination, but my Godfather's Pizza numbers racket ain't for the chicken-hearted. If you win a prize, I'll play you double or nothing for it, if you got the nerve. See these two squares? Under one of them it says double, under the other, nothing.
We want a TV dinner!
Okay, so you want a prize. I'll play you double or nothing for it.
Go for it. Let's do it. Come on.
We won 2 TVs!
Godfather's Pizza you can't refuse.
Compare dandruff shampoos. There's good, there's better, and then there's Blue. Selsun Blue, the best dandruff shampoo money can buy. Clinical testing proved it works best, with more complete dandruff control than any leading shampoo. Only Selsun Blue has the anti-dandruff ingredient doctors prescribe most. Remember, there's good, there's better, and there's Blue. Selsun Blue. It simply works the best.
There's a new name on the road, a new name in comfort, a new name in style, a new name in economy.
Nissan Stanza.
Nissan Stanza, the new name in 5-passenger comfort.
It feels like a limousine.
In great gas mileage.
We fly past the pump.
In front-wheel drive performance.
I've got power for passing.
Nissan Stanza.
Remember the name only at your Datsun dealer.
Datsun, we are driven.
Some farmers in Minnesota are beginning to push for a moratorium on farm foreclosures. It seems more and more farmers are in danger of losing their businesses because of high interest rates and some lean years at the markets. One target of the drive is a federal agency that is telling some farmers to cut back or to quit. More now from Alan Cox.
The agency warning farmers is the Farmers Home Administration. It's a part of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, whose mission includes giving loans to farmers who might otherwise fail. The FMHA doesn't have much money left for loans, and there is pressure from Washington to cut the losses on farmers who are in bad shape, to push them toward liquidation. Earl Noren is the man who would have to carry out those orders near Pine City. He has reviewed 44 problem farms, and 20 appear to have no way out.
We're partially at fault there, maybe. Other creditors are over-lending. It's coming to a head.
It has become common for farmers to carry hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans, part from the government, part from private sources. Some complain the government is changing the rules.
We follow the projections and ideas of our experts in Washington and in the state capitol. We try to do what they say is going to happen. We try to gear our operation to that. And too many times they've been wrong.
There's no way that one man working can carry a $300,000 debt load out at an interest rate average of, I don't know, about 9.5% and live. There just isn't.
We're going to have hungry people in this country if we don't take a serious look at this problem and resolve it.
Farmers will take their call for a moratorium on foreclosures to Congressman Jim Oberstar next week. Alan Cox, WCCO Television News, Pine County.
A state mediator has been called in to help negotiate a week-old strike by 16 grave diggers in the Twin Cities. They work at 6 Catholic cemeteries. The cemeteries are using supervisors and temporary help to keep up with these scheduled burials. At issue in the dispute are wages. While one strike is in progress, another one may be over now.
Indeed, a very long one. Today, teachers in the Howard Lake Waverly School District voted to ratify a new contract. Their strike began all the way back on October 6th. You may recall, back in December, the teachers reached a tentative agreement, but the school board rejected that proposal. The board is expected to vote on today's pact sometime tomorrow. Well, the criticism is starting to roll in now after a decision by the Reagan administration yesterday. The Justice Department announced that private schools that practice racial segregation can enjoy tax-exempt status. Previously, schools that discriminated against one race were denied tax exemption. One such school is Bob Jones University in South Carolina, which has excluded black people. A Justice Department spokesman said bona fide schools should not have to pay taxes regardless of any specific racial policies.
Whether our dating regulations are right or wrong, the issue is, even if they're wrong, do we, as a religious institution, have the right to hold beliefs that are unpopular We do not allow interracial dating and marriage because we believe that that's contrary to the purposes of our God.
This is blatant racism. It's nothing more than that. Dr. Jones may attempt to hide it in the scripture, but he's hidden it deeper than most religionists have ever been able to find it.
And in the wake of yesterday's ruling, Colorado Senator Gary Hart said tonight that he will introduce legislation to deny tax-exempt status to segregated schools. Postal rates for nonprofit organizations almost doubled today. The new rates were supposed to take effect in 1987, but the Reagan administration convinced Congress to move up the startup date. One official estimated that 1 out of 7 nonprofit groups will go out of business as a direct result of having to pay more money to send out a letter.
In St. Paul today, Republicans chose their candidates for this year's council and mayoral races. There was only one contested race, which was for the council seat in Ward 3. Charlie Cox defeated Mark Clausen during one ballot in that race. Mike Fritz ran unopposed for the mayoral nomination. He'll be running against Mayor George Latimer in the general election. Dr. Walt Lyons is going to be along next with the weather when the 10 p.m. report continues.
From the land of sky blue waters, from the land of time's lofty blossoms, comes the beer refreshing.
You can't beat the bear for fun or Hands for great taste. I guess that's why Hands is growing so fast. And for you light beer drinkers, is Hands Special Light.
Hands, the beer refreshing. Hands, the beer refreshing. Hands.
You can do it. You can do it.
I can do it?
Now is the time. You can start skiing. You can get the lift of your life.
Yes, you can do it because we've got a great way to start skiing. It's excellent equipment and a first-rate beginner's lesson at a special introductory price. To get started, just look in this Sunday's Tribune Sports section or call the Snow Phone 571-9579. Why wait any longer?
Start skiing. You can get the lift of your life.
I did it!
It is frigid outside. A reminder to those of you at home to take care of your pets. They can't handle this kind of cold.
Take the cat in tonight.
Bring them inside.
And don't get tricked into kissing any lampposts either. That's can be a real serious problem. You know, of course, thinking of places warm like Acapulco or Miami, I got some alternatives for you. Like your refrigerator, it's a lot warmer in there. Anchorage, Alaska today was 11 above. If you dig down 20 feet into the ground here in Minnesota, it's 45, and it's summer now in Antarctica. They've warmed up to about 10 above zero. That's interesting.
We're colder than Antarctica?
You bet. And some other tidbits we thought about while we were down in the weather office banging to get some more heat there. For instance, do you know that we're at the same latitude as the Riviera? Got a lot of good that does. And if the Vikings had won their division, they might have a playoff game at the Met tomorrow. Farmer's Almanac said it was going to be clear and mild this weekend. Wrong. You leave an ice cube tray of water outside, you know it's frozen solid in 15 minutes. And if you leave yourself outside, you actually begin to get the freezing of flesh within 30 seconds. And believe it or not, January 9th has got a historical habit of being very cold. 1976, it was down to 60 below zero at Rice Lake. And on this date in 77 here, it was 32 below zero. So with all this shivering going on, 20 below for the low, it's not even a record. Nothing to tell your grandchildren about. But it was 28 degrees below normal today. 14 below is the so-called alleged high. Right now, the temperature is sliding. It's now minus 20. That's minus 29 Celsius. 68 below zip is the wind chill. That's warmed up 4 degrees in the last hour because the winds have died down just a bit. And some of the temperatures, well, look at that. 30 below zero up there in International Falls. The only above zero spot out at Rapid City in the Banana Belt, they're up to +3. Some of the twin chills down close to 80 below zero. That is about as cold as it can get. One radio station in Worthington reported 103 below, but they were cheating. They were using wind gusts. It's a nice night if you wanted to do some winter sports. Look at that, 6 to 12 inches of snow on the ground. Southern Minnesota up to 24 inches above. Don't even think about going outside in these kind of wind chills, because when you're down at 50 below and even 70 below, that's extreme danger in the wind chill chart. Yeah, you can do normal daily functions if you dress with many layers of clothing, etc., but just limit that exposure as much as possible, and certainly don't go out traveling if you can avoid it, because if you break down, you got problems. Today's lows, we're not alone. 30, 40, 50 below zero in Canada. It's just come streaming down, aided and abetted by the jet stream, and this situation is going to continue for 2 or 3 more days while we're Eddie in our 33rd consecutive hour of sub-zero readings. Temperatures mild along the Gulf Coast and what have you, but 27 below, for instance, for a high today at Warroad, Minnesota, 22 below at Duluth. Tie their all-time coldest high temperature ever in history. And here's a satellite picture that needs a bit of explanation because it's so screwy. This is a heat-seeking picture where this pattern here is actually warmer clouds, warmer than the ground, and this dark area here is 30 to 40 below zero ground temperatures. So what we're going to see in this time-lapse sequence here is actually the cold air, or the cold ground, so to speak, spreading south. There's a few clouds in the southern part of the five-state region, but we're just going to be very clear. And if you want to see the full moon, look at it through your window. Oh yes, Great Lakes. In this area, downwind of those relatively warm Great Lakes, 4 to 36 inches of snow is going to fall in the next 24 hours. Folks there would probably call that a blizzard, but that is not necessarily correct. Around here we might have a blizzard, but a blizzard does not necessarily mean falling snow at all. It does mean over 35-mile-an-hour wind gusts, temperatures less than 20 degrees, and blowing and drifting snow, making travel on highways extremely dangerous, and the potential for exposure due to wind chill, well, severe. And there is near-ground blizzard conditions over much of this region, and that's why the travelers' advisories are posted. And if we look up here to this high-pressure system that is just sneaking into the northern part of the United States, 31.30 is the reading on the barometer. They're straining their gauges up there even to measure the weight of this enormous dome of cold air, which is going to continue funneling chilly air into us through much of next week. Sorry. Taking a look at what's going to happen tonight. 20 to 30 to 40 below over Minnesota. The wind chill readings, as the winds go up and down, 50 to 90 below will be common, even at close to 100 below zero at times in portions of North Dakota. Tomorrow's highs, well, nowhere even approaching zero, except in extreme southeastern Iowa and portions of Wisconsin, South Dakota. As far as the conditions tomorrow, there'll be some sun over Minnesota, but it's going to be bitterly cold. So, if you want to hear it, here it comes. Travelers' advisories, partly cloudy, blowing and drifting snow, northwest winds 15 to 25, 24 to 33 below the temperatures. The wind chills we've mentioned, I won't repeat it again. As far as tomorrow, yeah, you got it. 10 to 5 below for highs, northwest winds dying a little bit, but the 30 to 50 below wind chills tomorrow is still in the danger range. Play it cool, don't go outside without protection unless you really have to. Chance of light snow coming in on Tuesday, and the week ahead, if we get up to +5, I'll be reasonably pleased.
So pathetic.
It's Minnesota. Come on, let's slug it out for
You're
the
right.
Chamber of
This is
Commerce.
what they call a Minnesota winter,
Right.
and some of us who've only been around here 2 winters just have been telling people from out of town, oh, it's not so bad.
Toughen up.
Yeah. Back in May of 1981, a baseball coach at Brooklyn Center collapsed on the pitching mound. He was unconscious. Today, the American Heart Association honored the 4 players and coaches who helped save Leo Cheetah's life that day by applying CPR techniques. Alan Falapiak, Lenny Cheetah, Gary Franca, and Butch Zhang were cited for their service in keeping the coach breathing. Hats off to all of them for a courageous act and for some quick thinking. Tom Hanneman up next with sports when the 10 p.m. report continues.
It's coming. It's taking over in offices coast to coast. It's the paper blog. It's packed with important papers that should move out of your office fast, but can't get loose. This is a job for the Federal Express overnight letter. It costs only $9.50 when you drop it off, and it actually gets there overnight. So you'll never have to worry about the paper blob again. Federal Express, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight.
Sharing each and every day, and caring to help you on your way. We'll take you where you're going. We'll help you stand apart. Teaching's more than showing how it's needed with the heart. We're your partners, we're your friends. We want your future to shine, yes we do. We'll be there to lend a hand. We'll help you follow your dreams your whole life through. We'll help you find your way. There's a lot you need to know. Teaching's more than showing how, it's helping people grow.
Take part in your children's education. Write NEA for tips on helping your children at home.
So much opportunity, an equal chance to advance, better jobs and education. It's just your ability, so you can grow and you can go as far as any man.
Join the people who've joined the Army.
If you want the same chance for salary, education, and promotion as men, see your Army representative. Call this number.
Before we get to tonight's sports, wouldn't that have been a way to send the Met out if the Vikings had a game tomorrow? at 10 below zero temperatures.
Would have been perfect.
Would have never forgotten it.
Yeah, with tomorrow in Cincinnati, there's a 30 below wind chill predicted for the AFC Championship.
Sure, it's going to be
They'll
mighty
play in
chilly
that.
there.
Sure will. Gopher basketball tonight.
Back on the winning track.
They had to win this evening. That's exactly what they did. They beat Michigan State 64-58. Even though the Gophers blew a 17-point lead midway through the second half, they kept their composure and played like the veteran team they are. Randy Brewer was much more aggressive than he was the other night against Ohio State Thursday night. Randy controlled the offensive board here and put in 2 of his 13 points. A good example of Gopher hustle here. Michigan State steals, but John Wiley races down court for the block shot. Well, that triggered a fast break the other way with Trent Tucker driving in for the score. Tucker led Minnesota with 17 points tonight. State's Kevin Smith led all scorers with 19. His bucket here helped MSU rally to within just 2 points of the Gophers late in the second half. But the veterans on the Gopher squad, Tucker and Mitchell, came through in the clutch. Tucker's drive gave the Gophers a 4-point cushion in the final minutes, and Mitchell scored 11 of his 13 points in the second half. Well, it's early in the season, but already the Gophers have a key game next Thursday night against Iowa at Williams Arena. This afternoon, the Hawkeyes beat Illinois 56-50. Iowa's 7-foot freshman Michael Payne showing a great touch from the outside here for 2. Derek Harper keyed a late Illinois rally, but Iowa hung in there for their second straight Big Ten win. They lead the Big Ten with a 2-0 record. Meanwhile, Ralph Sampson poured in 30 points, but it wasn't enough as top-ranked North Carolina beat Virginia 65-60. North Carolina scored a key bucket late in the game on this fast break. Sampson played team ball today, dishing off a pass here as the Tar Heels converged on him. And the basket there, the 7-foot junior is really unbelievable. The Tar Heels are just too deep in talent for their team. And North Carolina a winner 65-60 over Virginia. Another major basketball games today. Tennessee, an upset winner over third-ranked Kentucky 70-66. Missouri, DePaul, and Iowa all winners. San Francisco, a 1-point winner. They need overtime to beat South Carolina. Bradley upset Wichita State 55-47. Virginia Tech pulled off another surprise, beating Louisville. Alabama, St. John's, and Ohio State all winners. And Northwestern beat Indiana 75-61 this evening. The Hoosiers are having their problems, to say the least. The North Stars and Canadians battle to, you guessed it, a tie. A 3-3 tie tonight at the Sports Center. That's 14 ties now for the North Stars this season. The Canadians drew first blood in this game on a rather strange play. Watch it. Somehow Pierre Mondoux manages to move ahead of the Stars' defense, and he beats Gilles Malache on the breakaway. 1-0 Montreal. Stars even things at 1 on a power play midway through the period. A nice bit of passing leads to Steve Kristoff's 14th goal of the year. Then with 3:45 left in the period, it was Mike Eaves turning on the red light, his 9th of the year, and the Stars were up 2-1. Steve Payne had the North Stars' 3rd goal, but they could not come away with a win. 3-all the final this evening. In other games this evening, Winnipeg, a 4-2 win over Detroit. Quebec routed Boston 6-1. Buffalo 3-2 over Hartford. The Rangers victorious over Chicago. Edmonton 7-2 over Calgary. Wayne Gretzky 1 goal, 4 assists for the Oilers this evening. The Islanders beat Philadelphia. Pittsburgh edged Vancouver. Toronto 5-3 over L.A. And St. Louis dumped Washington 7-4. Jim McMahon, Brigham Young's All-American quarterback, directed the West 26-23 over the East in today's Hula Bowl. McMahon hit 23 of 33 passes for 3 touchdowns and 330 total yards this afternoon. The West was also the winner in the East-West Football Classic in California this afternoon. And another BYU standout was also the star of this game. Dan Platter pulls in that 19-yard toss for 6. Platter was the offensive player of the game for his 9-reception, 2-touchdown performance. The Gopher wrestling team edged out 8 other squads to win the Falcon Invitational Tournament in Colorado Springs, Colorado today. The Gopher women's gymnastics team was also a winner today. They opened up the home portion of their season with a 136-131 defeat of Winona State at Williams Arena this afternoon. Minnesota's Carrie Fluiff and Robin Hubner shared all-around honors. Hubner took the floor exercise with this routine, which earned her a score of 9.15. Phil Mayer retained his #1 spot in the World Cup standings with a second-place finish in this World Cup giant slalom run in France today. The 24-year-old Mayer finished a half-second behind Sweden's Ingemar Stenmark in today's competition. Mayer leads that competition with 155 points. Stenmark is second with 84. Mayer's time in this run, 2 minutes, 34.57 seconds. The downhill event is obviously the most dangerous in these competitions, but don't let anyone tell you that the giant slalom runs aren't treacherous also. Andreas Wenzel of Liechtenstein caught an edge in the first heat and was disqualified in that race. More importantly, Wenzel came out of that fall unharmed. And a reminder that the NFC Championship game between the Cowboys and 49ers gets underway tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock here on Channel 4. That game is rated a toss-up. Cincinnati is a 4-point favorite in their AFC title game against San Diego tomorrow in Cincinnati.
I imagine the Chargers are not used to that cold weather in Ohio.
You're right. No one is used to that cold weather in Ohio.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. That'll do it for this Saturday edition of the 10 p.m. report. Do stay warm tonight.
Yeah, you should be okay if you cover up and dream of summer. Good night.
The Benny Hill Show, tonight at 11 here on Channel 4. Stay with Channel 4 for 24-hour news coverage, beginning with the morning report weekdays at 7. The noon report follows at 12. Then on the 5, 6, and 10 p.m. reports, join Dave Moore, Pat Miles, and Doug Moore for all the day's news, plus weather and sports. Channel 4, the news station that continues to give you more.
Can't shake this cold, honey.
Time to stay home.
Can't today.
Time to try Triaminosin tablets.
For stuffy noses and sneezes? Because now I feel achy and feverish.
Triaminosin is an outside-inside cold tablet. The outside relieves symptoms you can see, stuffy nose and sneezing, and inside, Triaminosin has extra medication for headache, body aches, even fever. Feeling better?
Inside and out.
When a cold makes you feel awful, it's time to try Triaminosin tablets.
Stinks!
Nefertiti.
Cleopatra! Right! Oh, you're good at charades, Pam.
And now she's great at coffee.
Great coffee is easy, Mrs. Olson. You said Folgers would prove it.
Sure, Folgers is different. A special blend. Best I've tasted.
Mountain grown?
That means great flavor because it's the richest kind of coffee.
Honey?
Yes.
Sounds like.
More Folgers coffee!
Great coffee's easy and